Hey everyone, it's Lauren. This is Skeptic She. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I know there are a lot of new people here, and I'm so grateful for that, so thank you for being here. Today I want to tell you about a really ridiculous experience I had at my Christian high school. It's going to be another blog post that I'm going to be reading off of. If you want to follow along, as always, I will post the link in the description, and I hope you enjoy. Let's go. Alright, so I saw that I posted this a little over 2 years ago, and for whatever reason at the time I decided to write it kind of like a fictional story. So the narrative of this is a little bit more colorful than other blog posts I have read off here before. I'm not too proud of my overuse of adverbs and adjectives in this. Maybe you'll see what I mean. So the title of this blog post is called Moments of Doubt, High School Anatomy, and the reason I prefaced it with moments of doubt is because this is one of those situations where, although it didn't push me away from Christianity, it really opened my eyes to a lot of the strong contradictions that there are within the Christian church itself, within the thousands of denominations that there are. But specifically what I faced here was the differences between modern Roman Catholicism and the Missouri Synod Lutheran Church. Let's get into it. At my ultra-conservative Missouri Synod Lutheran High School, I expected our science teachers to blend fact with faith to some degree. However, I was caught completely off guard when our frightened rabbit of an anatomy teacher decided to teach us about the origins of humanity, and teach is in quotes. And I know I've said before multiple times that I don't want to enter into the realm of character attacks on this channel. This is an older post, and also I'm not identifying this person, so it's just in the narrative. I'm not gonna take it out, just so you know. Donning pin-straight platinum blonde hair and walking with a stiff shuffle, she stretched a thin rope diagonally across her classroom and audaciously commanded the entire class to stand on either end of it. See what I mean about all the adverb-adjective combos? So if you believed in evolution, you were to stand on the end of the rope that was near the door, and if you believed in biblical creation, you would take the side near the back of the room. Now, most of the class stood on the creation side without batting an eye, and those who stood at the middle of the rope quipped,
"Well, are you talking about macroevolution or microevolution?"
When the teacher confirmed she was referring to macroevolution, or major evolutionary change over long periods of time, those clever middle-of-the-rope students immediately joined the creationists. This next part, I guess, is kind of timely because it mentions a person from Ukraine, and we have all this Ukraine stuff going on in the States. Yeah, my weird attempt to be relevant, I guess. If memory serves, our Ukrainian foreign exchange student and I were the only two who chose to stand near the door, which was the evolution side, or the macroevolution side, much to the shock of the rest of the class. Yes, I was Christian, but I was also one of the only Catholics at my school. The way I understood it, it was okay to be open to evolutionary origins and not take the Bible so literally, as long as I believed that Jesus was Lord, which at the time I did. It didn't take long for some of my more fervent classmates to start hurling questions and commands my way. I remember one person in particular said, "How can you just pick and choose which parts of the Bible are true?" And my favorite comeback was, "Read Mere Christianity." I heard that so much. I always find it amusingly ironic when biblical literalists put C.S. Lewis and other apologists on a level playing field with their God. Now I know that they might argue, and yes, I'm throwing in a rhetorical escape hatch here, but a lot of Christians might argue, well, no, these people are preaching the message of God that we already know in the Bible. They're just putting it in words that more of us can understand and that maybe sticks with us a little bit better. But I don't remember a single person telling me to actually read the Bible and try to understand that. They only said, read C.S. Lewis. So anyway, I'm really fuzzy on the timeline of this and how the rest of that particular scene played out, but what happened after that was worse, and I really did it to myself in a lot of ways. You'll see what I mean. So I was feeling really ostracized by my classmates and teacher for me being Catholic and accepting a scientific fact that contradicted the Bible, and because I was feeling ostracized, I decided to send an email to the school principal. Mind you, our school was really tiny, so it wasn't unusual to strike up conversations with the principal, have one-on-one chats with him. I recall that my message was long-winded and melodramatic, teenage me be damned, but my principal did respond by inviting me to his office for a heart-to-heart. After he had received the email, he explained that he went to talk to my anatomy teacher, and rather than even acknowledge my in-class ostracism, he looked at me with a furrowed brow and said,
"We're concerned that you don't think the Bible is inerrant."
As you can imagine, I was appalled, but I was too exhausted and frankly too shy and not really confident at the time to disagree with him. He continued with baseless accusations like,
"What, do you think Adam and Eve were monkeys?"
and "I think Satan is playing tricks on you. If you think one part of the Bible is false, it won't be long before you think the rest is false too." Now, he wasn't wrong, it would just be a long time before that actually happened. Unfortunately, I failed to stand up for myself in the classroom or the principal's office. At the beginning of our next anatomy class, I sheepishly raised my hand and attempted to explain, through tears and embarrassment, that I accepted Jesus as Lord and that's what mattered. Little did I know there would be one more cherry on this Sunday. We had an anatomy exam and one of the bonus questions was about the origins of man. This type of question should never be on a test ever. I don't care if you go to a private Christian school, you cannot use it to grade someone or give them bonus points. So I believe this bonus question was a true or false question, and it asked whether or not humans came to be through evolution. I you not. After I of course answered with true that humans did come to be through evolution, although if I had the option I would have added that's how God chose to do it, my teacher wrote in passive-aggressive red pen,
"Not according to the Bible."
I think I still got an A on that exam, so there's that. Now, as for the Ukrainian foreign exchange student, who, by the way, I wish I would have included this in this story, but she did at one point take the time to go to the chalkboard and draw out how she and her Ukrainian classmates studied the different layers of the Earth's surface and how all those different layers provide a whole bunch of substantial evidence for evolution and gradual change over time. While she was doing that, she specifically said, "My head and heart are on same level." And then my anatomy teacher responded, "Well, we know that as Christians our heart should be above our head." Think about that. That's how they get you. They teach you not to use this. At least the really indoctrinated. I'm not saying that most Christians are like that, but this one was special. Okay, so continuing. As for the foreign exchange student, a different teacher, the anatomy teacher's husband, no less, took advantage of her naivete and quickly converted her to Christianity. She was paraded around like his trophy and shared her miraculous conversion at one of our weekly chapel talks. And so I remained the only open non-creationist in my school. I could go on forever about how disgusting it is that high school age kids and younger are taken advantage of and indoctrinated when they're very vulnerable and impressionable. I was too, certainly. But the fact is, most Christians who teach that and do the indoctrinating think they are doing the absolute capital T truth, capital R right thing. And part of the reason I do these videos is because I want to keep talking out against that kind of stuff. So in conclusion, even though I stayed Christian for another 6 or 7 years, these moments revealed to me just how glaring the differences were among Christians and just how desperately some denominations clung to antiquated beliefs in the face of scientific progress. This type of situation also taught me how much integrity I was willing to have about my heathen beliefs in the face of social pressure. Thinking for oneself is not easy with such a suffocating education, and I'm relieved to have learned a great deal about how to do so. So that was the post, and it brings me to something I think about quite a bit, and that is, should Christian schools be allowed to teach biblical literalism? I understand that they are private Christian schools and they can teach whatever they want technically, but I personally still think that religious and political bias should not be brought into the classroom. Okay, so my camera died mid-sentence and I had to get creative and use my phone. Apologies for that. Anyway, I think you knew the point I was trying to make. It's very difficult to have a pure factual-based education when you're in a Christian private school. I wish there was an easier way to make that happen so that kids could grow up not only taught reality, but taught at least the option between Christian biblical literalism and scientific consensus. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on what possible solutions you think might be able to happen in the world of education for Christian kids, religious kids. Real quick, I would just like to share that I recently did an interview with Beelzebub. I will link to that in the description. Please go check it out. I was very tired and rambly, but I had a good time, so thank you Beelzebub for having me on. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Like this video, share it with your friends, keep asking questions, and I will see you next time. Just waiting for the sirens.